As Harlequins Principal Partner, DHL share their commitment to the women's game to encourage young people, new players, as well as young fans to the sport. So I'm sat here in the DHL yellow seats and I'm joined by Sarah Bonar as well as Silvia Turani. Thank you so much for joining us today. First question is, how did you both get into the sport?
Unconventional story, came to the sport quite late.
Okay.
Used to row before, was at Hartby College, and Nolly, Daniel Waterman, was there as a rugby coach and kind of became a bit of a mentor of mine. Struggled with nerves on the international stage. Anyway, long story short, fast forward 3 years, I'm at Loughborough Uni, she's on England camp, and we end up running into each other and having a coffee, and I kind of break down. I'm like, Knowles, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm so miserable. She then puts me in touch with a rugby club, Lichfield Rugby Football Club, and never looked back, loved it. So Knowles, thank you.
I mean, it's a fascinating route to get to that point, wasn't it? How about yours?
My story is also quite unconventional, I think. I was 22 and I was at uni in Spain during an Erasmus program, and this birthday party met 2 girls, and they were like, oh, our birthday present's like missing a training session. Like, what sport do you do? It's like rugby. It's like, oh, cool, can I come? And it was like, it's our last training session of the year, and then we have a big tournament, then it's always like, went there, train, and we're like, we missed someone for this weekend game. Would you play? It's like, no idea of anything, but yeah, well, played, and I was like, yeah, I like it. Went back to Italy, and I was like, oh, I need to find a club now. Like, text all the clubs, they were like, no replying at all. People were like, oh, they will never, like, you're asking to the best club in Italy, you can't go there and ask to play. It's like, well, I'm just asking to train. And then, yeah, 10 months later, I was playing for Italy, so it was great.
That's wild, because all it's taken is like one person, one opportunity, a meeting at a party, and you're hooked. What was it about rugby which made you think, this is the sport for me, this is the place where I belong?
For me, it was very much like being able to see my body in a different way. I was quite a big girl and like never really fit all the environment I was in. Whereas like when I went to my first training session back in Italy, they were like, oh, we're so excited to have a prop now, because like we're missing props. So, like we're excited about like how physical you are. It was like, wow, that's kind of nice, being appreciated.
Yeah, for you?
For me, it would have definitely been like the team camaraderie environment. Coming from rowing, it's quite like a solitary sport, but rugby just felt at home. My first session, I remember the girls saying, oh, what size shoes are you? I was like, oh, 8. They're like, oh, here's a pair of boots until you get your own. In rugby, you do anything you can to help out your teammates, and I just fell in love with that.
That's so nice. I really like what you said as well, because Ilona Mayer, she often talks about it, the body confidence and the body acceptance, and we have a game, and we often talk about it, but I don't think we appreciate it enough, that it truly is a game for all different shapes and sizes, and there is a position for you. That's something you've experienced as well.
Yeah.
So how important is it, do you think, to be able to get rugby into schools and sports clubs from an early age? Because you started at 22, but you probably wish you stumbled across it maybe age 8, 9 or 10.
I definitely think it's really important, because like growing up, let's say when you're like 14 years old, you probably are like facing lots of things in your life, and you're not necessarily think that sport, or rugby in this case, could be a good like opportunity for you to do things differently, or to be with people, to connect with people. You probably like tend to isolate yourself quite a lot. Whereas like, let's say at school or club, you have this opportunity to connect with people, and to have like a weekly objective, which could be playing, or a daily objective, which could be like going through the session, just give you a bigger purpose and people to share like what could be a difficult time of your life with. So I think like it's really important.
We're just a stone's throw away from Allianz Stadium, Twickenham, and later on this year, Scotland are going to find themselves in the Rugby World Cup final, aren't they?
Yeah, we'll have knocked England out in the semis. Quarters, actually, yes.
They're playing against Italy, of course. Of course.
You heard it here first.
Heard it here first.
Italy, Scotland, final over there.
But if it happens,
Stranger things have happened.
Exactly.
Look, World Cup tournament, anything happens. Knockout rugby.
Exactly that. But it's a massive year.
Yeah.
And we saw it with the football and the Lionesses in this country only a few years ago, but the ramification, the impact of what we're going to see at that stadium should be felt around the world, shouldn't it?
Oh, massively, yeah. Like, we've got such an opportunity to really not only grow the game, but women's sport, and showcase it in, like, look, the PWR this year has been bigger and better than it has been before, and I think the amount of internationals we have playing in it, girls across the UK come to watch the games. Actually, you can now go and watch your favourite players in the international colours up and down the country, and it's just really exciting. Different brands of rugby will be played here. You've got games in Exeter, you've got games up in Sunderland. Like, it's exciting, and it's not a home World Cup for me, but it's probably the closest I'm ever going to get to it. And look, it's just going to be exciting.